Hi, Pam. Hi, CK. Happy Wednesday.
Hello, hello.
Happy hump day.
What's up, guys?
Got new floors.
Yeah.
Yes. Got rid of the really gross carpet that this house came with. It felt like plastic and was full of sand because there's a sand play lot in our backyard. And they had 5 kids. So they just
Oh, wow.
dragged sand in. And every
Yeah.
time I vacuumed, it would be a canister of sand.
You never get it all up.
Never.
You should have signed up for one of those like Kirby free vacuum where they come and like clean one room of your house to show you how dirty your carpet is and try to sell you like a $3,000 vacuum. And they use like 300 of those little, like they vacuum for like 2 inches and they pull out the little filter. Look how dirty the and then
Oh, that's what I did.
you did that for a living for
I
a
saw
while?
Electrolux vacuums.
Wow.
And yeah, we did that. We pulled out the thing. We stuffed like little napkins in the filter so it wouldn't go in the bag, and just took out the napkins and put them all over the house.
Yeah. I found that sales technique crazy. I remember when that dude he would take those little filters out and not put them in the same spot. He would like
Yeah.
cover every inch of my table and my couch and coffee table and tea. Like he would just put them everywhere he could just to show, here's how fucking dirty your house is,
That's awesome.
and here's how awesome this vacuum is.
I think
happy
that was
to-
my first job in high school.
Yeah, that was your first job in high school.
I think so.
What was your first job, Pam?
I worked at my parents' auto repair shop starting when I was like 10, and actually worked, like did inventory and stocked shelves and things like that. But then my first real job outside of the family was working retail at a place called Paper Warehouse, which was like Party City, basically. So cashier and whatnot, filling up balloons.
There was a paper warehouse with balloons.
Yeah, I know. But think of like Party City. It was the same thing, but it was just called Paper Warehouse.
There's a party city that sells a bunch of paper.
It's like a camouflage Party City. Like,
Yeah, I don't know why it was called Paper Warehouse. There was very little paper.
Well, that's funny.
I'm stuck on this one. I'm stuck on the paper warehouse parading as a party store.
Right? It's a problem for me too.
Snap judgments, though. Snap judgments. And you hear something, you think something, and then you go into it, and reality is different.
Yeah, there you go.
We're gonna be dealing with that a lot this week. This week, and this is about what I want to talk to you guys. This week, we're talking about a vaporizer from a brand that, in our space, like in the space of people that are really obsessed with vapes, this brand, saying that they get no respect is not even enough. Like, I've never seen a brand hated on by a group of people the way that Gpen gets hated on by vaporizer enthusiasts.
Huh.
Like people join the communities and they're like, I just got my first vape and I want to make sure I'm using it right. I got the Gpen Dash, and as soon as they say Gpen, it's all bets off. It's no longer I'm gonna help this person. It's like, you bought a shitty vaporizer, you need to throw it away. You need to see these links and go buy these vaporizers. Nothing Gpen, everything Gpen is, because they have such a reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they have that reputation? Are they like one that is just widely available at local stores, so they're not like niche, they're not cool? Is that why people hate on them? Because they're like entry level, or what's the deal?
I think it's a bunch of things. Like, I think it's like a social anomaly. Like, the vape space is like so passionate with their enthusiasts, and it's such a small thing, yet it's marketed to the masses. So exactly what you said, Gpen is like a publicly available brand. I can go to Ease or a head shop and find multiple Gpen products. But if I were to go to my website and look at all the vape stores that sell the vapes that I always recommend, there's no Gpen to be found in those stores. So Gpen is like a mass marketed brand, which brings me to my next point. We're heavy in the enthusiast space. A lot of our most active and most engaged audience are like vape heads. They're serious about their vapes. But if you look at the cannabis market, and talk to the people that are buying vapes, the enthusiast is only a small percentage of that.
Sure.
And Jerry and I actually talked to a bunch of other cannabis influencers about Gpen specifically, because people don't hate on Gpen outside of the enthusiast space. Like I talked to other cannabis influencers, and they're like, "I love my Gpen Connect. I love my Gpen Roam. You know, it's my most used battery device." But they're usually like smoking bongs, and it's like a different space. But
Yeah.
this week we're highlighting the fact that Gpen actually made a pretty good vaporizer for once. Like they used to make pretty shitty products, pretty crappy things that were known to have not so good materials and not a great design.
So the criticism was warranted before.
Yeah,
There was warranted criticism, I think.
Yeah, they basically are a mass market product with a lot of marketing money, and
Is that
to the
one of the-
enthusiast to the enthusiast who loves this shit and wants to see people enjoy vaporizing, we get pissed off when an average or below average vape goes out and gets all the marketing money. And like Snoop Dogg got his name on one of these, and it was like one of the worst vape. We all were like, why did he put his name on that vape? So they earned it, but nevertheless, the vapes weren't that bad. I mean, the mass market, it was good enough for them. You know what I mean? So I think they got undue bashing in the niche community, as far as they didn't deserve to be called that bad.
Yeah, were they maybe over criticized because they were maybe kind of looked at as selling out, or kind of commercializing something?
Commercial. I think a lot of it was like about the future of vaporization. And I know a lot of people that are into vapes are passionate about it, and they're like, this is the future of weed. Like everyone's going to be doing this because this is a better way. And then the Gpen products don't provide that enough of that luxurious cannabis vaporization function to convert a new user. And at least that's always been my feeling. Like when I see a brand new cannabis smoker buys their first vape and it's a shitty vape, it's a representation of all vapes.
Right.
That person now says, I tried vapes, they suck. And I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Like when I talk to other smokers and I'm like, oh, I only vape. And like, oh, I tried vapes, they suck. The fuck you did.
Yeah.
You tried a Gpen or you tried something shitty. You didn't try the shit that I fucking use daily. Because this space is advancing and there's a huge gap. And the shitty vapes put new people into a misrepresented environment. It's
I think
we want more.
I get what you're saying.
Is there a big cost difference? Like, can you get a Gpen for less than you can get one of the vapes that you would prefer?
There are vapes that we prefer for the same price. But
There are now, yeah.
the enthusiast wants to represent vaporizing well. And as Troy said, we all know that when you get a shitty vape for the first one, you're pretty much not only not going to try one for a few years, you're probably going to tell the people it sucks.
Yeah.
And that's just doing a disservice to people. And so then we look back at the vape and go, that vape was a disservice. You know,
Yeah.
Troy and I like to pick vapes that we feel like are great ambassadors of the hobby and promote those. There's nothing we can do about it when a company with a lot of money makes a shitty vape and promotes it. It's like, fuck, now they're promoting that thing, and now I got to fight that stream. You know, so.
I'm reminded of like the diet landscape, and specifically like keto and ketosis. Now keto has become, or kind of coming into the mainstream, but it's packaged into this format that doesn't really touch on the actual science of ketosis. It just takes the science and kind of packages it into a mainstream thing so that it becomes more like a fad.
The bacon diet.
So,
Just a high-fat diet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then your mom starts making desserts off of YouTube and telling us that she's eating keto.
right.
And all the diet enthusiasts start freaking out. That's a crappy diet, and it's going to lead people astray. And there are those people
Right.
exist. Do they
Yeah.
exist?
I remember that
We're
era.
talking about the fad instead of actually the actual ketosis and the science and the process behind it and what goes on in your cells and your physiology and the biology.
That was the fill your plate with bacon, and as long as there was no bread, you were on a diet. I remember that. That was. It went
that
hand in
shit-
hand with the bacon. Like, remember how popular bacon was back then? I mean, it still is.
Yeah.
But like, bacon didn't used to be all fucking like hype machine. Like, it didn't used to be fucking bacon. You know, like
Then Big Bacon got involved.
yeah,
Right,
like
man.
there was a
Big bacon. I love it. Big
Bacon.
bacon's here, man. Oh, jeez.
it was like bacon and Chuck Norris. Like, there was a bunch of things that just got way popular just because of like internet jokes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, are you guys trying to change the conversation around Gpen, or are you trying to get people to open their minds a little bit and be more welcoming to people who are new to the vape space? Like, what's your goal with featuring this brand and this product?
Well, for one, I have multiple goals, and I want to help Gpen make the best products that they are capable of doing. And I told them that years ago, and they haven't liked me for a long time. I've met them face to face and had some really interesting conversations purely because they know that I talk shit about them. Jerry was there for some of that shit. You remember that?
Yeah, it was pretty fun, man.
But yeah, my goal is to, for one, help Gpen make representative products. Like I'm passionate about the space and the movement, and I want to help all the brands be the best that they can be, even if it means doing it for free. Like I feel like if the space wins, I win, and like helping Gpen be better, I win. The space gets better. People win.
Right.
They have improved, and I also I have a personal attachment to fighting like false reputations, and this one to me feels like it's not a false reputation, but the reputation has lived on longer than it should have, you know, because like people change. Like, people can be an asshole for 5 years of their life and then turn it around and be a fucking Mother Teresa for the next 25, 50 years. If they meet somebody from their asshole period, that asshole period gonna make that little snap judgment, like, I remember this fucking asshole.
Right.
But it should be a human nature to also like reconfirm, you know, take in new data and understand the current situation and not base fucking decisions on 5-year-old data or 25-year-old data or anything like that. And that's what I feel Gpen is in right now, because their last 2 or 3 vapes, like the Roam, that little bitty one, the concentrate, the Roam, and then the Dash is a little bitty one. They're made by other vape manufacturers, and they're not bad products. But the Gpen brand still gets like this fucking punch down effect from the enthusiasts.
If you are a person that was a shitty person for the first 30 years of your life and then you become a better person, you can't just expect that all those people that you were shitty to are going to give you a second chance. You have to show them. So as a brand, they need to own that. They need to come out and say, like, look, we know the stuff we made in the past maybe wasn't as good as you expect from us. We're doing better, and here's how. And they really need to control that message. They need people like you to help them with that. But I don't think it's necessarily fair to just expect people to give them a second chance on their own. Like, they need to lead that conversation, and people need to do their work to prove that they're getting better. You know, it's the same thing.
Yeah. Consumers should be more conscious, but that's the thing. Like, companies don't want consumers to be conscious. They just want them to listen to them. So, you know, the onus is on the companies to generate thought or consciousness or mindfulness from the consumer. Because, you know, consumers are largely sheep. You know, they just kind of follow, and biases can develop very easily and quickly in terms of like brand loyalties and
Brand disloyalties.
yeah, brand disloyalties. And these things have roots in emotion and our identities that we attach to those emotions. You know, by spending this money that we had potentially worked hard for or had saved up, we're taking a risk in spending that money. So we want to know that that risk was worthwhile. And by rationalizing the risk, we develop an identity and value with how we spent that money and what we spent it on. So then we develop a choice supportive bias where we support what we chose. And, you know, that kind of reinforces the choice that we made. You know, we think we made a good choice. And so then we like the product better. We're more loyal to the product. And, you know, it just cycles and we confirm our own bias about it. So confirmation bias. Of course, it would be beneficial to spread more awareness of being mindful of how we consume stuff. But that's a pretty big hill to climb.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's actually what I've been concerned about with this vape for the last 2 weeks. Like I'm all for spreading transparency and being objective, and I don't want people to be treated unfairly, even if it is companies. I also don't want to die on a hill of trying to defend Gpen to the enthusiasts who have created an identity around hating Gpen. And that's like what you said. It's no longer a logical, rational reputation. It's an identity.
Yeah.
These new people come into the vape scene and they're like, oh, everybody hates Gpen. Guess I'll hate Gpen.
Right. Yeah, there's a social congruence factor there.
I want the truth to be out there on an individual vape basis. Like when I look at the what we would perceive as the damage done that by Gpen as far as putting products that we didn't like out there with tons of marketing and turning people off. By the same token, it does the similar damage if the enthusiast crowd is saying a vape sucks when it doesn't. So, you know, when they do come out with a good one, the last thing I'm going to do is hold them to their reputation. I'm going to go, hey, guess what, man? This one, they turned the corner. This one's actually good, man. It's worth checking out. Or, hey, you know, it's not the greatest thing ever, but it's about 80% there, or, you know, whatever the hell the assessment is. But again, we want to spread vaporizing. I mean, it's all about accurate vape info, in my opinion. That's the most important thing to get this out there.
Yeah. So I remember what I was going to say now. So
there we go. You're welcome.
and it relates to you reminded me. So you guys, your values are to provide recommendations and information about these vapes to the best of your knowledge and, you know, as accurate as you can. So, you know, that's your values, that's your intentions, that's your motivations. Whereas people that may be poo-pooing this vape, they're not necessarily thinking about their values. They're just making snap judgments, like you said. And when that happens, it engages their emotions and their feelings. So they're not really thinking of their values, but it's more of a subconscious thing. Maybe subconsciously they're valuing their tribe and what their tribe thinks and how they can align with their tribe, or they're valuing their previous thought about the vape. And, you know, that thought can't be wrong. So they're going to keep saying what they can to align with what they said before. So, you know, they're valuing being right and staying right instead of the facts or the truth or the current situation. So there's a mismatch between your values, which is accuracy and truth and the best recommendations that you can provide, versus these other enthusiasts' values probably revert to aligning with what they thought before and the thoughts of their group.
The hardest thing in the world to do is to change your mind about anything, right? Because changing your mind is saying, I was wrong. And nobody likes being wrong. Ego. It's a hit to the ego, yeah. So, as people, the best thing that we can do is to have an open mind, not for the benefit of Gpen, but for the benefit of yourself, because you might be taking away an experience from yourself by saying, nope, that's not good. That's not what I want. I don't like that. Like, you're just closing yourself off from potentially good experiences or good products, or even just good interactions with other people. Like, if you come into a conversation and someone's like, hey, I'm new to vaping, I got a Gpen, and you're like, idiot, then you're just shutting that conversation down instead of being like, hey, cool, like, do you like it? Or, maybe here's something else to try next. Like, you're shutting yourself and the other person out from a great interaction by just saying no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Gpen hate is unhealthy all around, in my opinion.
Yeah. And that can change, though. Like, think about, there's tons of products over the years that 20 years ago, 10 years ago, no one would have thought would be cool. Like, think about Crocs. Like,
yeah.
Wait, they went the opposite, didn't they?
They're cool now.
Oh, they are? They're cool again?
Yeah. Like, teenagers wear them now. People, like, everyone is buying these hideous shoes.
Yeah.
That 20 years ago, it was like, these gross plastic ugly shoes, and now like they're all over social media. Like, everyone loves them. Like, that happens, that goes in cycles. Mm-hmm. But we need people, not that I'm trying to encourage people to wear Crocs, but you need people to be open to changing and having new experiences, because you're only taking something away from yourself by being closed-minded.
CK, what color are your Crocs?
We're a Croc-free household.
I'll bet.
I'm closed-minded to Crocs.
Have you ever had Crocs?
I've never had Crocs.
You're really comfortable. You should try them at least once.
Yeah, my wife loves them.
But I go the opposite way with footwear. I'm more barefoot oriented, so less benefit for me.
That's the way to go, man.
Wouldn't Crocs be perfect? The Crocs, you can just walk around barefooted with the Crocs on.
Actually barefoot, though.
Barefoot with the Crocs on.
Yeah, that's not how it works, Troy.
I mean, barefoot inside the Crocs.
It's like being naked with clothes on. That's not how it works.
I am considering a pair for the like shoes that you keep by the door for like running out in the backyard or something, but we'll see.
That's when he needs to be barefoot, man. That's when he's gonna get grounded.
That's how I got tricked into buying Crocs. I stayed at somebody's house and they had Crocs as their like indoor-outdoor, like go outside real quick shoes.
Yep.
And I started wearing them just for stepping outside, like checking the mail and doing shit like that. And they were really comfortable. And in Vegas, there was like an outlet mall that had a Croc outlet thing. So when you find like the Crocs for like $16 or whatever, I bought them. Moved back to Illinois, wore them to work one day, and realized, what in the fuck are on my feet?
Oh, that's funny.
Like, I was sitting there at lunch and I'm like, oh my God.
I left the house with these.
I had to like go home sick and
fucking Crocs. I used to wear flow hose with socks, so I'll wear anything, man. I don't give a shit.
I don't know what flow hose are. But
flow hose are those rubber sandals that are the crisscross Jesus style. They go around the back and they have the crisscross over the top. So we called them flow hose. You could wear them in high school because they had the little strap around the heel. You had to have a heel on your. I couldn't wear flip flops. I could wear those. So I'd wear those with socks, and I didn't give a shit. So yeah, I could deal with Crocs.
You wore them with socks.
Yeah.
I caught that.
It's like wearing flip flops with socks.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
In the winter, when it was cold, with my sweatpants. Yeah. Crocs and flow hose. I wonder what happened to flow hose. Nobody's heard of those anymore. That must have been an 80s fad, a real quick little.
They're still
Look at
around.
him go, man. Look at him go.
So Gpen is the Croc of the
vape world.
I don't know. Might not be the same apples to apples.
I thought you just couldn't finish it.
Yeah, I'm struggling right now. My lungs are like, I'm soul of my body. My soul's doing Jackie Chan parkour around the room right now.
All right, you're gonna figure that out.
Get back in my body.
That's fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
There you go. That's what I thought, man. Did we come here to say what we came to say? Did we say what we came here to say?
I just wanted to bounce these ideas off and get some intelligent responses. That way, when the enthusiast space burns down my career for trying to like a Gpen,
Right.
I have some other intelligent adults with some statements that back me up.
We can play this video and point at them. They said I could, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I would ask.
CK said you're a sheep.
Yeah, I would ask what their values are. What are they valuing? Are they valuing accurate information, or are they valuing the social consensus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that the better you can help Gpen become, and the more the enthusiast community can, give them feedback and embrace them and encourage them to make a quality product, the better you make it for new people to come into the space and to experience vaping, because these are products that are available more readily. Maybe they're more accessible. So you bring people in at a higher quality, which just brings the entire industry up. It just, raises everything to a new level.
That's a good point.
And I think if you are an enthusiast, it's on you to help the industry in that way.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
Yeah. Good shit, Pam.
Yeah, I had a thought of this kind of maybe bringing in growth versus fixed mindset, where, a fixed mindset, you're more psychologically rigid and you can't think, other things can be true. So, you just keep driving in that one point that you were all about before without considering that things can change and, there's other options and things. There's a complex system and there's a lot of other variables that can input into the system. So you want to have a growth mindset where, you're open to these things and things can change and things are relative and dynamic and things are always changing. The only constant in life is change.
Yeah.
And so there's this concept of integrative complexity where you can understand that things can be more than just one thing at once, or it's not always binary, but there's a spectrum of options or possibilities. So instead of being mentally rigid and stuck in your ways, it'll be more beneficial to be open and understand things are dynamic. And like Pam was saying, if you're an enthusiast, why wouldn't you want to be open to a more limitless potential of things versus being limited in this one aspect or this one idea of what the thing is?
Yep.
I'm all about being limitless.
Totally, man. Judgmentless.
Well, it's the concept of yes and from improv, right? Yes, Gpen made lower quality products before, and they're coming out with better products. That is how things progress. If you just say no, improv stops. You have to say yes and to keep the conversation going.
I remember you mentioning that once before in one of our discussions, and that was a sticking point for me. Like I remembered that. And going back to what I think either CK or you were talking about before, like about being wrong. I overcame that at a pretty young age. I think I was like 22 or 23, and my boss, like I was wrong about something, and I was like pissed that I was wrong, and my boss was like, "Hold up, let me show you," and he explained. He's like, "You want to be right? Like you want to know things, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and he's like, "When you're wrong, you're improving your information. Now you've improved, so you should want to be wrong. You should strive to be wrong, because then you can fix it. You can realign. You can be sure that you're right. When you're only right, there are no other awarenesses because you're locked into that set.
There's no growth.
And be having that bias, that preference, makes it harder to look into things the same way it does for people to always find the right answers when they go searching. Like, well, when they're trying to do their confirmation bias Google searches, it works the opposite way. Like, if you don't want to be wrong, you're not gonna be receptive to information that could contradict what your gut believe or what you want to believe.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, not to get political, but we're like literally experiencing a war right now where there is a man who is wrong and won't admit it. He could literally just go, "Oh shit, I was wrong," and stop. And he can't, and he's going to cause a significant amount of damage to himself because he literally can't go, "Oh, I misjudged this."
Yeah,
that's a great example of psychological rigidity and bias.
I don't want to spend too much on the news, but I saw the Russian news person who went on the thing with the TV with the sign and shit. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's ballsy.
Very ballsy.
Ballsy, man.
I mean, she already got arrested.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then some, I'm sure.
Yeah. Like, I don't think we'll ever hear what happened, but I assume she's gone.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Joey's going all the way to the end with it. I love it. Little RIP just in case.
Just in case.
And it's
great.
It's funny because it's so uncomfortably true, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Oh, what are we doing?
You can find more of Pam and CK on the Not Bad Advice podcast, available on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever popular podcasts are found, or forcesofequal.com for their coaching service. Listen to Troy and Jerry every Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and hit up the YouTube channel and the website for interviews, clips, vape information, and more.